I'm going to share with you 5 uncomfortable truths Meta Ads Mastery. Of course, you can go to honorelevate.com to see more information here. And of course, on this particular page that I put up the script and some of the slides and stuff, I think it'll help you through it. But please, let's get started. My name's Connor. We're going to share with you something that most of your competitors don't understand. In fact, I'd argue that somewhere around 73% of advertisers running Meta ads right now are pointing their finger at the wrong culprit for their declining performance. So they blame the update known as Andromeda. And it's the algorithm. It's not the algorithm that's the problem. It's potentially your strategy. So today I'm going to walk you through 5 uncomfortable truths about the Meta ads ecosystem that separate the winners from everyone else. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly what needs to change in your approach to not just survive, but absolutely dominate in 2026. So let's go ahead and begin. First off, we're going to go ahead and get into a couple of the issues that most people are looking at. So the first one is don't blame the algorithm. It's not Andromeda. It's potentially your strategy. Let me explain how the Meta system actually works, because if you don't understand this, you're operating in the dark. When somebody opens up Instagram or Facebook, Meta's system goes through 3 distinct steps. So first, Andromeda acts as the gatekeeper. It takes millions of ads and narrows them down to a smaller, more relevant pool. Think of it like a personal shopping assistant who says, based on this person, these are the 50 ads they might actually care about. And it is specific for the person. AI has really trumped that whole thing. Then Lattice comes in, Lattis. It's an AI model that understands user intent at an incredibly detailed level, and that continues that filtering process. And finally, Meta's full AI intelligence makes the final choice. One single ad gets shown. Now, here's what's important. These systems, they're not punishing you. In fact, these systems are really changed, I think, for the betterment of people and the outcome in the search. And if you can get into that space for your particular people that are hiring you to do their ads, I think that's incredibly important. So these are working perfectly. The ads are in these different AI systems. The problem is your competitors are feeding these systems potentially better inputs than you are if you saw your rankings start to slip. So your competitors probably doubled down on their creative strategy. That's what's going to really make this algorithm work for anybody in the advertising and marketing space. They're producing more ads. They're producing better ads. They're testing different angles, different psychologies, and of course, different motivations. And because Meta's system is designed to show the best ads available, it naturally gravitates towards their work over yours. So think of it this way. If you were that AI system and you had to choose between mediocre creative and exceptionally creative, which would you pick? That's the fundamental shift. So the algorithm isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to. Your competitors are just feeding it better material. So the question becomes, are you willing to change your entire approach to match what's actually working? And I hope your answer is going to be yes. So truth number 2, let me run through here. Truth number 2 is going to be your targeting, your account structure are now obsolete. You might be a big spreadsheet person, and that's great, but really this has changed, and I'll explain to you why. This is going to be uncomfortable for some of you, especially if you built your entire advertising career on the principles I'm about to challenge. So for the last decade, the mark of a skilled advertiser was their ability to build complex account structures with hyper-specific audience segments. You'd have lookalike audience, interest-based targeting, behavioral targeting, LLA pyramids, all of it. That approach is now dead because of this change. And this happened at the end of 2023. So this isn't new. It's just the way they have it layered is continuing to evolve. So because Meta AI is so sophisticated that it no longer needs your help, Lattice, Jim, the entire AI infrastructure can now match the right ad to the right person better than you ever could manually. Your detailed audience segmentation, it's now redundant. Your interest-based targeting, the algorithm handles it automatically. Your 47-tab spreadsheet with all your audience insights, it's beautiful, but now it's useless. I know this is hard to accept. I've worked with hundreds of advertisers, but the ones who built a reputation on account structure, they struggle most with this shift because their expertise just became a liability. And it's almost like you got to throw out your brain and install a new one to really wrap your mind around it. Here's the opportunity, though. If you're no longer competing on technical account management, now you're competing on creative. That's where your energy needs to go. That's where the battle is going to be won in 2026. We're now at the 3rd of 2026. This is very timely. So truth number 3, you have to think how to creatively diversify. You don't. And that's probably the problem. Every marketer I meet says the same thing. We're testing creative diversity, and then they show me a video, a carousel, or a static image, maybe a reel. That's not diversity. That's just a different variation of a format. That's table stakes. So real creative diversity operates on multiple layers. Most brands aren't even touching level 2 and beyond. So level 0, format diversity, that's going to be static image, videos, carousels. Those are the basics. You need it, but it's not enough. Level 1 is going to be content diversity, different camera angles, different copywriting approaches, different value propositions. Still foundational, but winners are going to go even deeper. So level 2 is going to be that psychological and awareness expansion. This is where the magic happens. So most failing ad accounts are completely oversaturating one specific audience segment, people who are already aware of what you're selling. So people who already know they have a problem. That's why your ads happen to perform like a rocket ship for the first week, then they fall off and it's crickets. You've exhausted the problem-aware segment and there's nobody left in that pool. But there are entire audiences that don't even know what you're selling. They don't know they have a problem yet. These are cold prospects who need education first, not a sales pitch. So you're going to be coming back to a lot of organic content-based stuff, educational systems, besides the creative ad endeavor. You need to create top-of-funnel content for all of these people. Additionally, the most powerful ads don't sell features. They tap into core human psychology. So think about it like this. Nobody buys a mortgage because of rates. They buy it because they want security for their family. They buy it because they want the freedom to own their own home. They buy it because of how it makes them feel. The winning ad leans into fundamental human motivations: the desire for romance, the desire for societal approval, the desire for tranquility and peace, the desire for power and control, and the desire for legacy. Your competition, the competitors, the ones crushing it, they're creating ads that tap into these emotions at a visceral level. They're not selling, they're connecting. That's level 2 creative diversity, and that's going to be non-negotiable in 2026. So truth number 4, the best ads no longer look like ads. The line between paid advertising and organic content has essentially disappeared. You probably noticed this. The ads that perform best are the ones that actually don't feel like ads. They feel native. They feel authentic. They feel like something you'd willingly watch or read, not something that's being sold to you. The brands winning in 2025, moving into 2026, they've done something interesting. They've moved their paid advertising team and their organic content team, organic, into one unified unit. I think we're going to be seeing more of this. I do know with my team, it's really always been that way because I grew up in the SEO models. I grew up in the time when you really had to be at the top part of organic search. It was possible to take a new brand or a new concept, a new idea, and I started out in real estate marketing and advertising. That was a very crowded space, and it remains incredibly crowded. To get above the fold on Google, to get that proper placement, it's not easy. But organic content, at least for a while, it was working fantastic. Again, now you have massive companies, massive corporations that have been running that game, and they do a lot of paid for advertising. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and their placement is being, of course, appreciated. Plus, they have an entire network of agents on those systems writing content for them, like monkeys banging on a keyboard, and that gives them really good placement. It's very difficult to compete with that, at least at their scale. But in the local venue, you can win all day long as an agent, as a mortgage person, as somebody in a service community. Even if you're competing with Angie's List, these other massive systems out there, these different lead generators, people saying they're verified by these different people, Ramsey's and all this, you can still win those games by being that local on-the-ground source for whatever type of market you happen to be endeavoring within. So what I would say is this: your organic content becomes your R&D department for the paid stuff. You create authentic content first, content your audience actually want to see, content that provides value, tells a story, or entertains. Then when something performs organically, you immediately amplify it in the paid media realm. So that one ad, that one thing that somebody did in your office, maybe you had somebody that had an idea, they thought they would film something kind of silly. Maybe that's something that really took off. That's what you want to bend into the paid space, because it's already proven itself in the organic realm, the non-paid placement, where you get a lot of societal verification that this was just fantastic. Everybody wanted to see it. You take that and you throw it into a meta ad that's connected with the CAPIs, the CAPI system. So at least Facebook knows how it's generating leads, which leads are actually going through. You do that through a database or through an advertiser or marketer that has that system in play. Facebook gets the proper feedback in Meta, and oh my gosh, your ad continues to bring leads at a super high rate. So the winning strategy is to build that world-class content engine. Create things your audience loves. Use meta targeting to amplify those winners. The key insight is your content has to be genuinely good first. It can't be thinly veiled sales pitches. It has to be your audience has an incredible BS detector, especially if they're in my generation, the one after and the one before, they're going to scroll past mediocrity instantly. So your competitors who are dominating, they're probably creating 3 to 5 pieces of organic content with every paid promotion. They're building relationships first and then selling second. Most brands have it backward. They're trying to do that engagement, that selling part first. You have to earn a little bit of trust in that realm. There's very few people that are going to go at it buying immediately, but if they've seen you a couple times and they've seen what your ad copy or company has been putting out there, they're going to develop that relationship, and then they're going to hire you depending on what kind of service or what you happen to offer. Number 5, the winning question isn't how do I make the best ad? It's that final shift, and it's the most important one. So for the past 10 years, the goal was to create that one perfect ad. That's a big shift for the people in the advertising space, because now that back then the ad would go viral, and with a perfected copy, perfect thumbnail, perfect timing, it happened. That pursuit is now a complete waste of time and money. And here's why. No matter how perfect one ad is, it's eventually going to reach saturation. Your audience will get tired of it. Your performance will decline, and then you're back to zero. The winners in the new meta ecosystem aren't the ones with the singular best ad. They're the ones with the best creative factory. Let me explain what I mean. Creative Factory is a system for rapidly generating, producing, testing, and deploying high-quality creative at scale. Think about it this way. Your bottleneck used to be creativity, right? How do I come up with a better idea? Your bottleneck now is operations. How do I approve or produce 50 ads in 1 month, test them, and scale them for winners? That's the difference between brands that are crushing it and the brands that are struggling. The winners are asked, how do we generate ideas faster? How do we produce at scale without blowing the budget on production? How do we test new concepts continuously? How do we deploy winners immediately? How do we measure creative efficiency, not just ad performance? They're building systems, templates, processes, repurposing frameworks that make this possible. You cannot compete on perfection. You can only compete on velocity. This means your team structure needs to change. You need people focused on ideation. You need people focused on production. You need people focused on testing and optimization. You need systems that connect all three. A brand that can produce 50 ads a month beats the brand that produces 5 perfect ads every single time, because Meta's algorithm, it's hungry. It wants fresh content. It wants different angles. It wants to see what works. If you're feeding it one ad at a time, you're starving that algorithm. Your competitors are feasting. So here it is. Let me tie this together. Your meta ads aren't failing because the algorithm changed. They're failing because you haven't changed. Your competitors are feeding the algorithm better inputs, letting AI handle the targeting while they focus on creative. They're operating on multiple levels of creative diversity. They're creating content that doesn't feel like advertising. They're building a factory instead of chasing perfection. This isn't theory. That's what's working in 2026. Now, the question I have for you is this. Are you willing to make these shifts? because I tell you with certainty the brands that embrace this new reality will dominate their markets, and the ones that don't will slowly fade away, still blaming algorithmic changes for their declining performance. The difference between you and the competition isn't talent. It's as it's always been, it's adaptation. Honor Elevate exists to help brands make this transition. We build creative systems, we develop multi-layered content strategies, we establish the velocity and efficiency frameworks that separate market leaders from everybody else. When you're ready to win, give me a buzz, book something on my site, we'll talk, I'll be able to help you. When you're ready, I'll be here. I do appreciate you watching, it means the world, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.